Mr. Schwartz, do you understand the gravity of your situation?
So if I do this, you guys will let Jack go?
That was the agreement you struck with the O5 Council, correct?
Yeah, it was. Okay then. Let's get started.
You've been cleared for The Testing Tapes, a Patreon-exclusive mini-series here at Splathouse Fiction. Sound design, voice acting, audio engineering, and, well, everything else by Jack LaCroix, with a special thank you to the SCP Foundation Project. In case you've been issued amnestics recently, you can go check out the SCP Foundation at its homepage, scp-wiki.wikidot.com. It's the largest collaborative fiction effort ever created. I highly recommend checking it out. And now, without further delay, Tape 1, SCP-32390-A. Item number SCP-32390-A. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. No special containment procedures are necessary for this anomalous artifact. Description: SCP-32390-A is a 5'8" Caucasian male weighing at approximately 130 pounds. Subject has bright red hair that is quite curly, freckles upon their face, green eyes, and thick glasses to aid in their impaired vision. Subject is approximately 29 years old. Note: though the subject themselves is not anomalous aside from their intellect, the Foundation thought it pertinent to speak to them first before speaking to SCP-32390. Subject was cordial and openly volunteered to be tested. Subject was given a ride by head researcher Jenkins, and upon arriving at Site-45 was greeted at the gate. After a brief body scan and DNA confirmation of subject's ID, they were escorted inside the building and relocated to one of our interrogation rooms. Subject was promptly given a thorough testing of their intellect in every level that the Foundation currently has available. Subject scored absolutely off the charts. Note from head researcher Jenkins: was any of this even necessary? I mean, this guy designed Love OS. We knew what we were dealing with. He made a self-aware AI in the early 2000s. Big tech's just now starting to catch up to that. You guys really needed to double-check that? Note from head researcher Dr. Bright: ignore last note from head researcher Jenkins. Based on the scores of testing, subject could easily be considered for O5 Council approval to join them. However, at this time, the Council believes it best to keep an eye on SCP-32390-A. Specifically, given his compromised relationship with SCP-32390, the Council considers it best to only consider him a candidate until either that relationship is terminated or SCP-32390 is. Note from head researcher Jenkins: yeah, how well did that work out for you last time? I gotta know. Note from head researcher Dr. Bright: disregard last note from head researcher Jenkins. After being located to the interrogation room, subject was given the accommodation of 1 glass of sweet tea and 1 tuna melt sandwich. Subject complained that this isn't the Taco Bell I ordered. Complaint was disregarded. After consumption, head researcher entered the room and began to interview SCP-32390-A. Begin audio log.
Hello there. Am I speaking with Mr. Schwartz? Oh, hi. You must be the guy conducting my interview. Ah, good to meet you. I am a head researcher, and I'm just going to ask you a couple of quick questions. Mr. Schwartz, before I get too deep into this, I do have to say it is an honor to meet you. You actually designed the system that keeps all my records in check. I did? Yes, we're using a variation of the Love OS distro to help and aid with keeping track of everything we have to do here at the Foundation. I hope you understand that all of this is just a formality. We don't really perceive you to be a threat. I mean, if that's the case, why'd you guys lock Jack up as soon as I got here? Right. Well, Mr. Schwartz, you've done several things for the Foundation, actually. Aside from just designing the backbone of our file system, there was that whole incident when you had to come back and actually dismantle the core issue with Love OS. Yeah, I remember, but it was really Jack that did all the heavy lifting, quite literally. Well, regardless, the Foundation has decided to take in your good deeds into consideration for keeping the world safe when we conduct this interview. I hope you understand that SCP-32390 is a bit of a concern to the Foundation. I mean, I can get that. Jack's kind of a wild guy. Right. Do you mind if we talk about Jack for a bit? No, not at all. I'm an open book when it comes to us. Us? You very specifically introduce yourself as us. Might I believe that you have an intimate relationship with the subject? Why do you call him a subject? You can just call him Jack. Right. Well, it's all for the record. I'm sure you understand. Note, subject shifts in chair and crosses their arms. I mean, I get that, but you guys have known about us for years. What could you possibly want to know more about him? I mean, it's not like you guys aren't spying on us or something, right? How were you aware that the Foundation was? You're a secret, shadowy, quasi-government cabal. Come on, man. Of course you're spying on people. Right. Can you give me a moment? Yeah, buddy. Whatever you need. Note. Head researcher exits the room and confers with other specialists at the moment. They enter the room once more, sit down, smoothing out their tie. All right, Mr. Schwartz, you're right. We have been keeping an eye on you and your... He's my boyfriend. It's okay. You can just say it. Boyfriend. For quite some time. It's our understanding that SCP-320... Jack's power has grown substantially in the last few months. I'm here to ask you how much of a genuine threat you perceive Jack to be. You mean the guy that I have to wake up because he's hungover every morning? The guy that wants nothing at the end of the day except a half-quart of ice cream and some cheesy horror movie? The guy, Mr. Schwartz, who cracked open a mirror that was preserving the boundary between reality and the universe. The guy, Mr. Schwartz, that according to his interview, killed a mythological god. The guy, Mr. Schwartz, who killed what we thought was a representation of the Abrahamic God here in the Foundation. That wasn't the real capital G. Be that as it may, no one in the Foundation was able to even detect that, except Jack. I would like to ask you a few questions about your relationship with him. Wow, you're such a stiff, man. Excuse me? I said you're a stiff. Seriously. I mean, look, I don't know everything about the Foundation, but I know that you guys have things in here that are way scarier than Jack is. Or don't you consider the fact that maybe he's just a good person? Have you, Mr. Schwartz, considered the fact that perhaps all of that is just an anomalous side effect of Jack's capabilities? He is forcing you to like him. He is forcing you and your associates to like him. He is forcing this cult of personality on all that encounter him. Have you ever considered that, Mr. Schwartz? Well, touche. So, what do you want to know? Right. So, Jack's capabilities. He describes himself as a magician, according to my notes here. Well, warlock, technically speaking. There's a difference? Well, kind of. A magician is more of like a broad term that's used for a wide variety of magical people and sometimes like stage magicians and stuff. And a warlock, usually serves some kind of, like god or demon or something like that. You have hard evidence that Mr. LaCroix is servicing some kind of... Well, there's our partner Jen, and he likes to service her a lot, but not like that. Jack's not really tied to anything as far as I know. Though, well... Mr. Schwartz, I am imploring you to go on. Well, Jack went away for 2 years, and I did everything in my power to go and find him. I got this portal and this shield, and... You developed interdimensional travel? Yeah, it was actually child's play, to be completely honest. At first I had this huge backpack that I had to power with this shield, but what I ended up doing was I got this ring, and now I can just use it whenever I need to go somewhere. It helps if I have a really firm idea of what the place looks like, but I can still kind of just hop around it well. It's really handy. All I've got to do is give it a twist. I am going to ask that you refrain from doing so while you were in containment. Why? Afraid you're going to have a containment breach on your hands? You would save me a lot of paperwork. Okay, whatever. This ring, is it magical in origin? Did Jack give it to you? No, I developed it myself. I'm a scientist. I can just make things. Noted. I apologize. But you said that Mr. LaCroix disappeared for 2 years. What was he like when he came back? Well, more or less the same guy. But there's been things going on. Mr. Schwartz, I understand this might be difficult to talk about, but I implore you to continue once again. He's not exactly the same he was when he left. Jack carries himself differently. He seems more confident, like he's got the power to do anything he needs, even if he doesn't know where that comes from. And there's also the incident with... There's this side of him that comes out sometimes. And I mean, we're talking about a guy that switches personalities like people switch light bulbs, but they're called the Dean. And most of the time when Jack transforms into these other aspects of himself, it's still him at the core. But the Dean's not Jack. Are you implying that Mr. LaCroix has dissociative identity disorder? No, I don't think it's that. It's like for a brief moment, he's plucked out of our reality and replaced instantly with somebody else. Somebody like him, but not him. How can you be so certain that this isn't DID? Well, for one, when I went looking for Jack, I actually ran into the Dean. You say that you ran into the Dean in... It was like an alternate reality. Somewhere that seemed really familiar but wasn't. And I thought I'd found Jack, and then I looked up and... It wasn't him. And there was somebody there that I'm sure you're aware of the situation with Michael, about 3 years ago. Yes, I've been briefed on that case. Right. It looked like Michael, but it wasn't. It was something else, and that's really why I wanted to be tested. Listen, I know the Foundation isn't scared of me, and I know that you guys have your concerns and questions about me, especially with the stupid shield and everything else, but there's something connected to my boyfriend. Something bad. And I think it's gonna be the worst thing we've dealt with yet. I'm asking you guys to keep him safe.
Do you believe that containment would be the only way to deal with such an anomaly?
I don't know. And this hilariously enough is kind of leading back to what I was talking about earlier. Jack doesn't serve other things. Not necessarily. But I think at this point he's like a door, you know? A door that's been slammed wide open. And all of these things, all of these beings, all of these jack-alikes, I think they know they can use him. And it's not these other versions of Jack that I worry about. It's what's connected to them. We don't know if they're nice people. Not like my Jack.
End of audio log. Mr. Schwartz requested that he be present when SCP-32390 was conducting their interview and being tested. Upon O5 Council approval, the Foundation granted this request on the caveat that Mr. Schwartz present this shield that he apparently is in possession in for additional testing. At addendum, given Mr. Schwartz's testimony of SCP-32390, it is the Foundation's belief that we should proceed forward with Theory 3 regarding the subject's capabilities. See additional tapes. End of log.
Hey, Chip, how you doing? Jenkins! Finally a friendly face. Holy shit. Oh, you came through with the Taco Bell. Thank you. Now, if you could just do something about these cuffs.
Yeah, we specially engineered those for you. How you like them?
Well, they completely immobilize my hands, so can't say I'm a fan if I'm being really honest. You gonna let me eat?
That depends. Can I let you out of your cuffs?
Hey, look, man, I agreed to do this, and so did Jim. I don't know what the Foundation wants to know, but yeah, I guess I will be on my best behavior, okay? Oh, come on, I really want a taco.
Step back and get ready for the cognito hazard. You've been cleared for The Testing Tapes, Volume 2, a Patreon limited series exclusive to our members, with acting, sound design, and more by Jack LaCroix. Hey, I guess that's me, right? With a huge special thank you to the SCP Project, which all of you should probably go check out if you're going to be listening to this series. And now, without further delay, Volume 2. Item number SCP-32390, also known as the Warlock. Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. As SCP-32390 has come of their own volition to Site-45, Scranton reality anchors were deployed inside of a lead-lined room. While we are not absolutely certain to the origin of SCP-32390's power, a combination of procedures such as those used for SCP-2615 and SCP-239 have been deployed. Note from head researcher Jenkins. Jack's prior actions in helping keep the world safe have been taken into consideration, as well as the fact that he came of his own will. While in theory SCP-32390 is a catastrophic level threat, due to the prior allegiance with the Foundation, we would be at least partially complicit in any wrongdoing. Worth noting, however, SCP-32390 has only used its powers to further both the Foundation's goals and its own, ridding the world of catastrophic level threats as well. As such, on approval from O5 Council, typical restrictions that would be used for Keter-class reality benders have been lifted or eased. It is both the Foundation's personal belief and my own that we are working in good faith at this point. Description: SCP-32390 is a 260-pound, 6-foot-tall, 34-year-old Caucasian male. SCP-32390 has graying black hair that is shoulder-length, green eyes, and glasses to aid impaired vision. In the sense of due diligence, SCP-32390 was given a thorough examination both psychologically and of its intellect once it entered the facility. SCP-32390 was found to have a below-average intelligence. Upon further examination, the Foundation believes that this is an anomalous effect of its own capabilities. Note from head researcher Jenkins: honestly, the fact that he's dumb enough to believe anything only reinforces Theory 3. Based on the results of psychological profiling, SCP-32390 tested positive for both bipolar disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. At the insistence of 32390-A, also known as Timothy Schwartz, SCP-32390 was tested for dissociative identity disorder. SCP-32390 displays no traits of having DID. An addendum: Jack has been a concern to the Foundation for almost a decade now. Given his family's prior history with the Foundation, their wishes were respected until it became far too late to ignore the boy anymore. It's estimated that his powers manifested during puberty and have only grown in strength since. Given the capability displayed already that we know of, such as interdimensional travel, the ability to summon demons, the ability to grasp masterfully, almost at a savant level, onto any skill or task that they believe they are capable of, the Foundation currently has 3 working theories regarding Jack LaCroix and his reality-bending capabilities. Theory 1. The LaCroix family, which has displayed a lineage of magician work, as they've come to call it, is somehow touched either intergalactically or cosmically or a part of another species. Basically, we think they're aliens. As Merle LaCroix, when he was working with the Foundation, was tested very thoroughly before he was allowed to work with our MTF units, we can confirm conclusively that they are, in fact, Homo sapiens. This theory has been disregarded, pending review. Theory 2. SCP-32390 is not, in fact, anomalous. They are the byproduct of a far greater anomalous entity. Examples considered for this effect are the Scarlet King, or the same process that created Dr. Alto Clef. One suggestion from a junior researcher is that Jack is, in fact, Dr. Wondertainment, and thus could give the appearance of being anomalous through their own inventions. All of these theories have been disregarded due to a lack of evidence. Theory 3. Given SCP-32390's admission that their powers developed during puberty, and the well-documented uses of it, and the intense relation to SCP-239, it is believed that SCP-32390 is, in fact, a living memetic hazard. To see and observe Jack is inherently to believe in Jack. At this point in their life, SCP-32390's reputation often precedes them. They are the Warlock, the Primarch of the Church of the Infinite Grin, the Grand Performer, the man that cracked the sky, Slayer of Archangel Michael, Slayer, at least by their own admission, of Odin, the mythological proto-Germanic god, ally of the Infertilis broodline, and can't believe I'm reading this. The best damn improv comedian you'll ever see. Of note, however, is that one of the titles missing is that of the Dean, one that was of special interest to SCP-32390-A, as the Foundation believes both that Jack is a momentous hazard and their various titles and deeds thus alter the perception of them and their capabilities. The use of advanced interrogation techniques were encouraged during the initial interview. Begin audio log.
So he says to the guy, "Got a machines? Buddy, that's a scrap bucket." You should have seen the look on his face, Jack. I bet. Thanks, man. God, I was starving. You have no idea. Yeah, it's a long drive from your house to Site 45, I know. Jack. Yeah, man? We really can't delay this any longer, man. Yeah, I know. Well, let me get one last sip and... Alright, what do you want to know? I hope you understand that I'm going to be acting in an official capacity for the Foundation and not necessarily as your friend. You're my friend, Jenkins. I'm glad to claim you as my friend. Right. So, it says here that you are a purveyor of magical talents, which we already know. It says here that you recently took a trip somewhere. You disappeared for 2 years. Can you tell me a little bit about that? You remember the whole Michael thing, right? Yeah, what about it? What happened once you got up there? So, funny story. Michael, terrifying. Absolutely scary. So, I was up there, and you were up where, Jack? Oh, I was in heaven. Pretty barren. Not really looking that great last time I was there. And there was this mirror there, and I ended up shattering the thing, right? And so I got sucked into it. Michael got sucked into it. That seems pretty careless, even though that tracks for you. Why was shattering the mirror the best idea? Well, he gave this, you know how they do, like the classic villain monologue where it's like, "Oh, I'm great and powerful, and only this obvious, breakable, magical bullshit is the only thing keeping my power in check." So I decided to break the magical bullshit, and you had no idea what was going to happen once you shattered that thing, though, did you? I hoped, at the very least, it would minimize the loss of life, and in my head, I was like, well, it's this, or I let the crazy angel win. And so I hit the mirror and shattered it, and then what? That's kind of a long story. Note from head researcher Jenkins. Jack began to recant his tales of his time in Asgard. See file TJATT for more. And, well, I got back, and Jim told me what he'd been up to. Yeah, we've, already checked in with Boyo. Interdimensional travel via a shield? Look, man, I don't understand it any better than you do. That's part of the reason we wanted to come here. I vaguely understand how Miara works, but why did Jim get a shield? Of all the places it had to be, why was it in hell? Jimothy's already agreed to have us test the shield. But, that's not really the point of this interview, Jack. Okay, well, what could the Foundation possibly want to know about me that they don't already? I mean, shit, I didn't know my dad worked for you guys until, 2 years ago. Jack, the entire reason we wanted to test was because of you, actually. Do you realize that you caused the largest containment breach that we have ever seen in the entire history of the SCP Foundation? Do you realize exactly what you did when you shattered that mirror? No, but it was for the right reason, and I firmly stand by everything I did. I don't fault you for that, kid. And look, we've already ran the numbers, and you're right. You prevented the apocalypse. Thank you. Yeah, no problem, I guess. However, now we have to live in a world that is aware that anomalous entities exist. You have undone hundreds of years of propaganda work and cover-ups. So that's what this is? I fucked up, so now you guys need me to come in and clean house? You could have just started all of this with that. It's not that simple, Jack. The Foundation doesn't just want your help. They want you contained, or at the very least, they want to understand you better. Yeah, well, I'm obviously not going to consent to that. You can try. I certainly don't mind if you try, but I have a feeling that's not going to go well for anybody involved, Jenkins.
Well, that leaves one alternative. You let us test you and understand what we're dealing with. I've told you before, we keep you on payroll, we keep you happy. You're gonna be fine. But I'm one person against the entire council, Jack.
Yeah. That's why they sent you in to interview me, isn't it? They wanted me to see a friendly face.
Actually, I volunteered. I didn't want some mook in here that was gonna be mean to you. I wanted somebody that could understand you.
I guess it's my turn to thank you then.
I did it for Merle, not for you. So, we can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. And I think of all people, you know just how grimy the Foundation can be.
Yeah, I'd say I got a fair idea. So, what's the hard way?
We hold Jim and your loved ones hostage and habitually torture them in any way that we can come up with until you crumble and do whatever we say, basically.
Wow, that is a disgusting abuse of power, and you should feel bad for being a part of that.
You think I enjoy my job?
Fair enough. What's the easy way?
You come with me down the hall, we put you in a room with some reality anchors, turn them off and on, and see what happens.
How do I know Jim is safe?
Well, he's right over there on the other side of the two-way if you want to look.
Hey, handsome! Hey, buddy. So he heard all of that just now?
Yep, sure did. And he still consented to be in here.
That's not really much of a choice, Jenkins.
I know. I wish I could offer you anything else, frankly.
You gonna buy me some more Taco Bell?
Kid, you do the test, I will keep you in a lifetime supply. You ready?
As I'll ever be. You're not gonna, try to kill me in there, are you?
No. Unfortunately for you, Mr. LaCroix, we have more use of you alive.
Great, that's not ominous at all.
End of audio log. SCP-32390 was escorted down the hallway to a testing chamber, and Scranton reality anchors were kept off for the time being. SCP-32390-A, Head Researcher Alto Clef, Head Researcher Dr. Bright, and myself were present for the first stage of testing, codenamed the Showman.
Alright, Jack, pretty much everybody here has been briefed that you're a magician. Why don't you show us something magical?
Are you fucking serious? You brought me down here to do a card trick or something?
Oh, you believe you can do something better?
Everybody always wants to see a fucking magic trick, I swear. Alright, you want me to pull a rabbit out of a hat? I'll pull a rabbit out of a fucking hat.
Note: upon snapping his fingers, SCP-32390 produced a top hat seemingly out of nowhere. The top hat was a classical one of the turn-of-the-century circus styling. SCP-32390-A was noted as saying,
Oh, that's part of his grand performer getup. This ought to be fun.
SCP-32390 proceeded to pull one solid white rabbit out of the hat and cradle it in their arms.
See? Came out of nowhere, didn't it? Is that magical enough for you, you fucks?
A research assistant was deployed to the testing chamber to retrieve the rabbit. Upon further inspection, the rabbit Jack produced appears to be completely non-anomalous. It was promptly terminated. Scranton reality anchors were turned on at this point as SCP-32390 placed the top hat on their head.
Alright, Jack, we're doing a couple of checks and balances over here. Could you care to do something else for us? Maybe, make that big knife you got up here?
Mira? Yeah, I can do that.
Upon snapping their fingers again, SCP-32390-B appeared in SCP-32390's hands.
Hey, one of you boys want to get in here and try and lift this thing? Double dog dare you!
Note: Scranton reality anchors apparently have no effect on SCP-32390. SCP-32390 was informed that Scranton reality anchors had been deployed and simply laughed.
Must be a hunk of junk then if that's the case.
At the insistence of 32390-A, the Scranton reality anchors were left on. The second stage of testing started immediately.
Okay, Jackie boy. We all know that you can teleport wherever you want to go. You can't display that force right now.
Yeah, you want me to do it with the sword or like...
You can or you can't, it's up to you.
Well, look, you're the people that are wanting to do the scientific survey on me, so... yeah, I guess I can do that.
SCP-32390 produced a shimmering mirror-like portal in front of them that was approximately 4 feet wide by 6 feet tall. They stepped through the portal and appeared next to Timothy Schwartz.
Hey, bud.
Oh, hey! Wow, that's really surprising. Do you want to get back in the testing chamber, Jack?
On one condition, can I get a quick kiss?
Of course you can. Mwah.
Hey, you two!
Oh, stop being homophobic, Jenkins.
It ain't got nothing to do with the fact you're in love. It has to do with the fact that we're trying to do some testing here, Jack.
Okay, I'm going.
SCP-32390 reemerged on the other side of the portal inside the testing chamber and snapped their fingers once more.
There, now you know I can do stuff you were aware I could do before I got here.
The third stage of testing began immediately. A D-Class personnel who was not briefed on who SCP-32390 was, nor their anomalous effects, was deployed to the testing chamber. The current testing staff was rotated with another group of researchers who were not briefed on SCP-32390.
Hi there, Mr. LaCroix. My name is... and I'm going to be furthering your testing today. The objective here is to display any of your talent, air quotes, against the D-Class personnel.
Do you guys want me to kill him? That's kind of... what the fuck?
No, that's not necessary, Mr. LaCroix. We just need you to display some kind of anomalous effect if you are capable of it.
Right. Orange jumpsuit, incarcerated. You've been here a while, haven't you, buddy?
Yeah, I've been here for about 15 years.
Yeah? What'd they bust you on?
I was in a lot of shootouts and stuff in my youth. And no family, no next of kin. They told me I had a supernatural ability to survive, and they stuffed me in this jumpsuit, threw me underground, and...
Yeah. Haven't seen daylight in a while, have you, bud?
No, I can't say that I have.
Huh. How would you like to get out of here, man?
Out of the facility?
Yeah, just away. Maybe somewhere different. Can't offer you much more than that, but at least you could get out of here.
I'd do anything.
SCP-32390 produced another portal, clapped his hand over the man's shoulders, and promptly shoved him through.
Sure hope that guy wasn't like a domestic terrorist or anything.
The D-Class personnel in question, D-579, Herman Smith, has been unlocatable by the Foundation at this time. Note, the Foundation does not believe that Herman Smith is a threat, and given the nature of his treatment within the facility, has decided that nobody would believe him if he told anyone anyways. No further search for Herman Smith at this time will be conducted. Note from SCP-32390-A.
I mean, was this really fair? Like, I see what you guys were doing with the checks and balances, but Jack already knew that he could make a portal. So if we're going on the notion that Jack is only capable of doing things that people believe or that he innately believe he's capable of, I don't see how this was really a challenge. He already knew that he could make that portal because you just asked him to.
Given this, the Foundation decided to proceed with a much more advanced test. SCP-239, the Witch Child, was brought into the testing chamber and placed before Jack. Dr. Alto Clef, Dr. Bright, myself, and SCP-32390-A were returned to the testing observation deck. Scranton reality anchors were turned off for the duration of this test in order to aid SCP-239 in displaying their own talents. SCP-32390 visibly softened, though approached cautiously, towards SCP-239, who, despite her capabilities, still believes that she is just an 8-year-old girl with supernatural talent. Testing was conducted post-haste. Objective: display any anomalous talent and see how SCP-239 reacts.
Jenkins, what is this?
It's just a kid, Jack. Ain't that right, sweetheart?
That's not true. My name's Molly, and I'm a witch.
Molly, huh? Well, it's nice to meet somebody like me.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm a magician, sweetheart. I can do all kinds of magical tricks. Why don't you show me one of yours, and I'll show you one of mine. Does that sound fun?
Yeah, I can make fire appear. See?
SCP-239 proceeds to recite an incantation that was given to them by the Foundation and told to them was a fire spell. A 3x3 circumference ball of flame appears to hover over the palm of SCP-239. SCP-32390 gives a long whistle and claps their hands as they stand up and place their hands on their hips.
Wow, that's pretty cool. But if you keep on practicing, I bet you'll get to the stage where I can do stuff.
Or can you make fire appear too?
Sweetheart, I can do a lot more than that. All right, now stand back, okay? I don't want you to get hurt, all right? Watch this.
Upon snapping their fingers, SCP-32390 burst into an effervescent blue flame that wrapped around their entire body. They appeared completely unharmed and proceeded to do several dance maneuvers as SCP-239 laughed.
See? Not even hurt. Though I probably wouldn't touch this if I were you, hon. It might burn you.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Why, thank you, sweetheart.
Upon snapping their fingers, the flames instantly disappeared around SCP-32390.
What kind of magic school did you go to?
Magic school? Kid, I've just always been able to do it. Isn't that how it works with you?
Well, I've been going to magic school here at the Foundation my whole life.
Your whole life?
Yeah, something happened to my mommy and daddy, and the Foundation came, and they took me in, and they told me that once I graduate from witch school, I get to go see my mommy and daddy again.
Do you remember your mom and dad?
No. I just really have memories of this place.
How old are you, kid?
Oh, I'm this many.
SCP-239 proceeds to hold up 8 fingers as SCP-32390 stands up, their back straight, as their fists begin to curl at their side. SCP-32390 proceeds to turn and stare directly at the two-way mirror of the observation deck. Their brow furrows. They turn back to SCP-239 and smile.
Hey, sweetheart, I've got a really cool magic trick I need to show you, but I need to ask you something first, okay? Are you happy here?
Well, no, I mean, everybody treats me great, but all I ever get to see is just the Foundation. I hear that the sun is really bright, and outside there's plants, and...
Yeah, there are. Hey, I need you to do me a big favor, okay? I need you to cover your eyes for a minute and cover your ears if you can.
Oh, how can I do that? I only have 2 hands.
Right. Close your eyes really tight for me and plug your ears, okay?
Okay. Is this like set up for a trek?
Yeah, it sure is.
SCP-239 complies with SCP-32390's request. SCP-32390 stands up and stares at the ceiling. They sit there for a long moment observing the ceiling of the testing chamber before they speak.
All right, if you're out there, I know you're listening to me, you big blue bitch. Now's the time. We did it once, we can do it again. Now's the time. Come on. This is important.
Jim, is, Jack a Christian or something?
No, not to my knowledge.
Then who's he talking to?
I don't know.
SCP-32390 proceeds to close their eyes and shake their head.
Okay, well, if you won't listen to me, I bet there's somebody that will. Hey, you bespoke goth-ass version of Mr. Rogers. If you're out there, if you can hear the sound of my voice, I'm giving you the okay. I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't really know who you are. But I am giving you my consent.
As SCP-32390 finished this last sentence, there was a temporary power outage within the Foundation. The lights flickered, though it was ensured that no locks or security measures were compromised. Once the lights returned, inside the testing chamber, SCP-32390's appearance had radically changed. Their hair was combed back from the front of their brow, their glasses were different styling, and they were notably significantly thinner than SCP-32390 previously had been. Their attire had changed as well into something that most people would consider the headmaster of a school. SCP-32390 leaned forward and very gently removed SCP-239's hands from their ears. SCP-239 opened their eyes and gasped at the transformation.
Wow, you look totally different.
Hello, child. It's my understanding that you practice witchcraft. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, I just told you that, silly.
Right. I believe you addressed one of my associates. You know, I'm the headmaster of a school myself. What would you say to a little field trip? Do you think that would make you happy?
I could.
That's right. You could go somewhere far, far away from this cold, tyrannical foundation that would dare to stifle your talents. I would be overjoyed to have you as one of my students. That is, of course, if you want.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Jenkins, that's him. You guys need to get somebody in there right now.
All right, I'm on it. Hey, MTF units, go, go, go! MTF units 739, also known as the operators, were deployed immediately. Inside the testing chamber, SCP-239 took SCP-32390's hand as it rose.
Will I ever have to come back here?
Oh, child. In time, this will be but a distant memory. And soon, it'll be like you were never here to begin with. By the time the MTF units had breached the testing chamber door, SCP-32390 and SCP-239 were nowhere to be seen. Scranton reality anchors were turned back on, and the area was swept. Nothing was ever found. End of testing log.
Mr. Schwartz, I hate that we have to meet under these circumstances, but I'm sure you understand the issue at hand. You guys kidnapped a child. We did what had to be done to protect the world, Mr. Schwartz.
Yeah, well, that doesn't change. How did you think he was going to react? I gotta know!
Mr. Schwartz, I understand that you are emotionally compromised at this time, but
No, please tell me what you think the guy that is capable of anything was going to do when he found out you imprisoned a child. Please, make it make sense.
Mr. Schwartz, SCP-239 is a Keter-class reality bender, and this is a significant containment breach. We are asking for your cooperation in locating SCP-32390 and perhaps ascertaining the fate of the child. Do you believe that Jack would be any threat to...
No, he was no threat. We were fine. We were happy. We came to you wanting to understand. And now, look what's happened. Jack was right about all of you except for Jenkins. That's the only one of you he ever trusted.
Mr. Schwartz, if you do not cooperate, we have means of ensuring your cooperation. And I promise you that...
Go on. Do it. I want to see you try, because you know what's funny about Jack? The one thing people like you can't seem to understand. Jack, he's like Superman to me. If I say his name, I know he's gonna show up. So I dare you. I dare you too.
Excuse me a moment. Yes? Right. Good. Mr. Schwartz, I'm going to have to ask you to stay here in this interrogation chamber.
Why? What's going on?
Your boyfriend is back, and, he's not in a great mood.
Jim, Wait a minute, this isn't the office. Oh, good. You're awake at last. Mr. LaCroix, I think it's time you and I had a bit of a chat. I am, well, Mr. LaCroix. What, can't take my hand? I know who the fuck you are. What am I doing here? Know who I am? That's most curious. Care to explain why? You first, buddy. Well, if you insist. I am the Dean of the LaCroix School of Chaos Theory, and you're in my office, asleep on my couch. Yeah, I can see that much. Why am I here, though? You haven't yet explained how you know who I was. I've known the entire time you were there, you dickhead. The entire time? So those moments where you and I, I knew about those. Oh, well, this solves so many dilemmas that I had. We could... I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do anything you need, actually. Why? All that I ask is for a little bit of the same peace and happiness that you yourself have. I have surrounded myself with phantasms in this... Yeah, I know that too. How are you aware of my existence? I thought that I had done everything perfectly. You're aware at this point that there's something beyond this school, right? But you don't know what, right? Keeps you up at night, I bet. That's not funny. Good. Wasn't a joke. Truth is, I know about all of you now, whether I want to or not. What do you mean, all of us? All of you. Do you know what it's like to spend every waking moment of every single day hearing
1,000 voices that sound like yours, that talk like yours, but all of them do things just slightly differently. Do you know what it's like to hear them in the back of your skull, like the dull roar of a crowd, and you have to act like you've got it all together, everything's okay? Of course you fucking don't. Because it had to be me, it had to be one of us, didn't it? I got chosen. I kissed somebody that I'm starting to think I shouldn't have. I was told that it would save and heal me, and boy howdy it did. It saved me from the edge of death, that's for sure. I was bleeding out, let me tell you. But now I am stuck with all of you. I now get to question if anything I do is actually me, or if I'm not just a vector for you fucks and that giant blue woman. Are you referring to Miss Janazabel? No, not Jen. Fuck. You're a lot skinnier than I thought you'd be. I beg your pardon. Relax, boyo. I still haven't answered my question, though. Well, I've become aware that you and we can swap places on occasion, and I was hoping that we could strike some sort of agreement, some sort of deal that when I... Sounds like that's a very selfish motivation. Don't you know that everything in the universe is powered by love, dear boy? Love, you say? Well then, is it not for love that I seek your place? Perhaps if only for a few fleeting moments. I suppose so. Did you bring me here then? Yes, at no small cost to myself. I had to speak with you. I had to talk to you in person. So what's your talent then? I'm sorry? I said, what's your talent? All of us, all of the me's that I've encountered, we all can do something a little different, something a little outside the norm. Me? Well, not quite certain what the upper limits on mine are yet. You, however, you're in a school. You're dressed like some kind of English fop. So tell me, what can you do? I am the grandest illusionist that has ever lived. I can craft phantasms and mirages and visions so powerfully convincing that they could even fool me. Ah, that's so. Huh. Yeah, I could see where that would come in handy. So I'll make you a deal, okay? On condition, of course. There's probably gonna come a time, a place, reality, that I have need of your services. This is the first time I've ever done this with any of me, so I'll say this. I'll let you swap with me on one condition. I have to give my explicit consent. Do you understand? You would allow me to... and if you do that, you can't hurt anybody that I love. If you do, I will tear ass across the fabric of reality itself, and I will find you and I will bury you. No illusion, no grand scheme that you could come up with, no fucking fourth dimensional chess will keep you safe. Do I make myself clear, you fucking egghead? As Crystal, I suppose you'll take that hand now. Yeah. It's a done deal. I'd like to get home now, okay? Of course, I understand, and, Mr. LaCroix, Yeah, what is it? I'm so sorry for everything that's about to happen. What do you mean? Wait, what do you... You showed up at just the right time for The Testing Tapes, a Patreon-exclusive miniseries for all of you lovely people here at the Foundation and abroad. I'm your host, as always, Jack, and today is our final episode. One that I think you're going to enjoy. I think. I don't know, but I mean, I hope you enjoy it. Sound design, acting, editing, and everything by yours truly. With a huge special thank you to my good friend Crow. You can follow them over on Twitter at CrowArt4. An additional thanks given to all of the patrons and associated people that I have discussed this ending with over the last couple of weeks. Hey, seriously, I appreciate the sanity check. You guys have no idea. Without further delay, our feature presentation.
This is researcher. I said, this is researcher. God damn it! That son of a bitch took absolutely everything from me, and I will continue to do my duties as assigned in hopes that the Foundation can catch up to them. I'm surprised that this equipment is even working. We had a containment breach at Site 45. Can't say I didn't see it coming after I realized that we had a Keter-class reality bender and then decided to put another one in there with them, but... Did we really have to turn off the Scranton reality anchors? I understand that SCP-32390 was not affected by them, but SCP-239... We could have kept them in check. Maybe there was something about that much power being in one room. I don't know. To the best of my abilities, given my current predicament, I am going to try and list the events in the order that they occurred. Begin audio log. After I spoke with 32390-A in the interrogation room I left them in, it was brought to my attention that we were being met with SCP-32390 again. They were in the main atrium in the main hall. I ensured that Mr. Schwartz was under lock and key. He has no anomalous properties outside of his intellect. I thought that I was doing the right thing. I made my way to the atrium, and I didn't give it a second thought. He's an O5 council candidate. Of course I tried to keep him safe. But it appears that after reviewing the video logs from the hallway and that room, Mr. Schwartz banged on the door for 3 minutes and tried the lock. After which, they looked down at their hand, at a ring that was placed there. They walked towards the center of the room, closed their eyes, and gave the ring a twist. A portal opened up in the middle of the room with what seemed to be an isolated bedroom on the other side. Mr. Schwartz stepped through and was gone for approximately 3 minutes. When he returned, he had what appeared to be a shield on his arm and an emaciated, older version of SCP-32390 in tow. The two spoke for a moment, and then Jim twisted the ring once more. A portal appeared again, this time from outside the hallway. The emaciated presentation of SCP-32390, which was heavily scarred and covered in tattoos that appeared to move on their frame, opened the door from the outside. Mr. Schwartz emerged into the hallway and hugged SCP-32390-C. I am hoping we don't have any more anomalous qualifications for this object at the time, but that is what I am going with. I've given a description. I have done my job. As the two stepped into the hallway, they spoke for another moment as MTF units deployed. They caught the pair, and Mr. Schwartz appeared to look at SCP-32390-C, who waved them away and told them to go down the hallway. I have recovered video footage from the incident and the engagement with the MTF units. Every single one of them thankfully survived, but, well, the tape can speak for itself, I think.
Jim, seriously, just go on. Poppet, are you sure? I said go on. Come on, go try and save the day or something. I got these guys. Okay, I'll come back for you, I promise. Yeah. Gentlemen, well, it's been a long time since I had guns pointed at me.
Sir, please, stop resisting and get on the ground now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that, boys.
SCP-32390-C began to remove their shirt. The tattoos upon their skin formed into plate mail with 2 hammers going down their arms. At the time, I was completely unaware of the anomalous properties of SCP-32390-C.
See, thing is, boys, I'm an old man. That's hard for me to lay down for anybody. So if you want me to do that, well, you gotta make me do it.
The unit leader gave the fire order, and the MTF unit began to fire upon SCP-32390-C. Though he staggered back, the bullets dropped to the floor, seeming unable to penetrate SCP-32390-C's skin. They laughed when this happened, shaking off the bullets like it was nothing. The armor upon their skin appeared dented but did not break. They rushed forward to meet the unit as several of them were reloading, and the brawl that ensued was humiliating to watch. I don't know who or what this was, but they beat our boys with hammers. With make-believe hammers that were tattooed on their skin. Several members of the MTF unit have been reported to have concussions, broken bones, broken ribs. Some of them were unconscious for as many as 3 days, but they all survived. When the brawl was over, I watched SCP-32390-C make their way towards the atrium. I don't even know where to begin with what happened in the atrium. And I doubt that anything I could say will be any less fantastical than what occurred. Once again, I am going to let the video evidence of the incident in the atrium speak for itself. Within the atrium, SCP-32390, or what I can only assume is a stage of them, stood in the center with a cricket bat in their hand. MTF units, the operators, and no good deed were deployed. Over 150 Foundation personnel were deployed inside that room. And while I am familiar with the casualties and the injuries that often happen during operations, I cannot emphasize enough that I think we have severely underestimated 32390's capabilities. They surrounded the subject and immediately pointed their weapons at them.
SCP-32390, get on the ground now and drop the weapon. We have been authorized to use lethal force.
Oh, lethal force it is. You assume that after everything that's happened, that shooting me will solve your problem. I thought surely they would have trained you boys better. It seems as though education is severely lacking in this place. You endangered one of my students, and I can't have that.
SCP-32390, you are surrounded!
Oh, they really ought to learn you boys better. Gentlemen, do you honestly think that I would come alone? Why, I brought plenty of people with me. Can't you hear them?
SCP-32390 raised their hand towards the ceiling of the atrium. At this point, the voices of several hundred indistinct people were heard around the atrium. Several members of the MTF units that were deployed said afterwards that it sounded like a school chant.
Gentlemen, it's my divine pleasure to introduce the graduating class of my academy.
As they parted their hands in the style of some great introduction, from the shadows of the room came crawling these dark shapes that seemingly looked humanoid. They were covered in cowls and cloaks and all manner of schoolyard wear. The chanting grew louder and louder and reverberated throughout the atrium as SCP-32390 slung their cricket bat over their shoulder.
Now, class, if I remember correctly, we only have a few rules at the School of Chaos Theory. And the safety of our students is paramount. To threaten even one of us is to threaten all of us!
SCP-32390 then pointed their cricket bat at the MTF unit.
Teach these Luddites a lesson!
The shadows, the crowd, the students, whatever they were, they gave a colossal roar in unison and descended upon the MTF units. Well, the footage displays it better than I could ever surmise, but they fought with the fervor and fury of soccer hooligans, of schoolyard delinquents. Shots rang out, and as they did, they would hit the shadows, and the shadows would just split and make twice the problem that we had before. The brawl was a riot. It was a stampede of these bodies colliding and meeting one another, and the Dean, SCP-32390, just stood there and smiled and clapped and cheered them on.
Watch your head, Debbie! Andrea, that one can take another punch! Jasmine, put those legs to work! Squish, show them the art of a good-ass beating, and Crow, one more punch!
As the footage rolled and the brawl kept on going, if you look to the right side of the frame, you can see SCP-32390-A and -C emerging into the atrium. They are awestruck at first, seeing the fight, the ongoing struggle, and They speak to each other for a moment before Mr. Schwartz points at SCP-32390. SCP-32390-C seemingly offers to cover them, which Mr. Schwartz took them up on as they placed their shield in front of them. The two quickly made their way through the crowd, striking the students and the MTF units alike if they got too close. When Mr. Schwartz was but a few feet from SCP-32390, they could be observed shouting over the clamor.
Hey, Dean!
SCP-32390 turns, sees Mr. Schwartz, and begins to smile. They open their arms, seemingly for a hug, before Mr. Schwartz takes the shield and hits them across the temple, sending them to the ground. At this point, there was another power outage in the Foundation, and the lights flickered completely off. Once they came back on and we regained the camera feed, we can see that SCP-32390 is as they were when they entered the facility of their own volition. They stir on the ground for a moment as Mr. Schwartz bends over and tenderly lifts their head.
Jack! Oh shit, I didn't think that was gonna work. Come on, buddy. Come on, you gotta come back to me. We really fucked things up here. God, why do I have such a headache? Shit. Oh, fuck. Yeah, we're a little... hey, boyo, I'm glad that you guys are reunited, but we probably need to get the fuck out of here. Yeah, just give me a minute. Oh, God, I feel like I drank my way out of a fucking brewery. Yeah, funny that. That's hilarious. I couldn't know that works, though, and
At this point, I had been huddled under the observation deck, and I could not allow either of them to exit the facility. I charged down there, and I grabbed one of the guns off of one of the MTF units that was laying on the ground, and I pointed them at SCP-32390. They turned to me, and... Stop right there! I can't allow you to leave!
God damn it, dude, really? Hey, who are you again?
I am researcher! Weren't you the guy that talked to me just a little bit ago before all this started? Yes, I am, and I will oblige by my duties as a researcher in this Foundation. I will keep the world safe from both of you. SCP-32390 staggered towards me and began to walk very slowly. I knew that the bullets weren't going to affect them, but I panicked in that moment, and as they drew closer, they grabbed the gun out of my hand and looked me directly in the eyes.
You want me dead? Is that it? You thought that you could take me down, or even my partner, or my friend back there. You know what I really think you are? I think you're a fucking nobody.
As SCP-32390 snapped their fingers, it was like all the sound left the room suddenly. I couldn't hear anything but the sound of my own breathing, and I shouted at them, but I watched as SCP-32390 seemingly shook their head like they had forgotten what they were doing. They tossed the gun to the ground and turned back towards their friends. Mr. Schultz twisted his finger, and a portal appeared again. They stepped through, and then the portal disappeared, and I was left there in the atrium with nothing but the bodies of my colleagues around me. Some of them started to wake up, and I would run up to them, and I would shout, and I would scream, and I would try to talk to them about what happened, but they never seemed to hear me. I would grab them by the shoulder, and they would just shrug it off like a breeze had hit them or something. It's been 3 days since this containment breach. I have sat in on meetings, screaming at the top of my lungs, smacking people, trying to get their attention, and I'm just a nobody. I have no idea why this equipment is working, but I wanted to get this down for posterity. I wanted proof that SCP-32390 did this to me, and he could do it to absolutely anyone else, too. This has been Mr. Nobody reporting in.
Ah, come on. No need to cry.
Who's there?
Oh, you've been so alone lately, haven't you?
You can hear me? You can see me?
Of course I can. Who can ignore somebody like you? After all, you saw everything that happened, right?
Who or what are you?
Just somebody that slipped in with our friend with the cricket bat. You need a friend too, don't you?
I don't know what I need. I need to exist again. I need to help the Foundation realize what they're up against. Where are you? Why can't I see you?
Oh, you want to see my face, then? Are you sure about that?
Yes, please, if you can help me, I will do anything that you need. I have to help the Foundation. Ah!
Nice. And this skin can't be seen by anybody, huh? Well, let's go find that headmaster.